is time for your weekly breakdown on the latest in entertainment, sports, pop culture, and all things Milwaukee. This is Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. Now streaming on 1017 The Truth YouTube with the witty banter, latest trends on social media, and hottest celebrity topics, here is Melanie Ricks.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and have a good day. I'ma go ahead and get it my way. Yeah, it's the Mel's way. Yeah, I'ma say this. Nah, I'm not gonna go ahead and go win, cause you know if I do, I'ma win. I don't know if Ben is ready for it, but that's okay, cause I'ma go ahead and go for it. All the way, yeah, all the way. It's Tuesday, I'ma have a good day. Yeah, when you hear this, it's gonna be Wednesday. And you know what? You gonna have a good day, yeah.
Good day. Have a good day. Good day. Good. Have a good day. Coming through, Juggy. Yeah. What are you pushing?
Yeah.
Pushing these buttons.
Oh.
Yeah. The truth ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Remember the truth?
Hey.
Yeah. But Mel on the booth.
Hey. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. What's up, y'all?
Okay.
Welcome to this week's episode of Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks in the stew with Benjamin. How you doing, Ben?
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And you know what? I've been reading a lot of amazing things. And first off, I just want to say to all of y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. We went live for the last two episodes, but here we are. We're pre-taping. So it's a Tuesday, but when you see this, it will be Wednesday. And I hope that you guys are all having a wonderful hump day. Got a lot of things that I want to talk to y'all about. And something that I've been talking to Benjamin about is this idea of allowing people to be who they are and you being who you are and navigating that in a way where you're like, you know what? I'm going to let them be exactly who they're going to be, and I'm going to go ahead and be me. And as somebody who likes to control, pretty much every facet of my life, that is a very difficult concept for me personally. Now, I'm not a control freak in the traditional sense. I wouldn't say that I'm type A in the traditional sense because I'm very carefree, whatever happens, it is what it is. But in my mind, if it's not going the way that I thought it was going to go, if it doesn't happen the way I planned for it to, personally, I kind of I don't know. I get very in my own head of, okay, what could I have done different? I'm frustrated because this is not the outcome that I initially wanted. This is not what I planned for. How do I fix this? How do I make it right in this moment right now? And unfortunately, life does not always go that way. And so Benjamin introduced me to the Let Them theory. Now, I had already known about this. I told Ben when he sent me it, I had it in my audiobooks, to-do list, if you will, to read list. But he definitely fast-tracked that because I sent him a post from Benny Blanco, actually. And before we get into the Let Them theory, Ben, I want to talk about what your fellow namesake, Ben E. Blanco, said, which is that when it comes to social media comments, Benny Blanco, he was doing an interview with Selena Gomez, whom he's engaged to. And first off, if you don't know Benny Blanco, if we could, in this video, if we could go ahead and just do a pop-up of his face, what he looks like. The reason why I think that's relevant, Benjamin, Benny Blanco, I'm not going to get into my feelings on how he looks, but the social medias of the world, they said, oh, Selena Gomez, she downgraded. She went from Justin Bieber to Benny Blanco. She's settling, this, that, and the other. Something that we hear a lot in the Black community is Black women marry for love and other women, take that as you will, marry for money, marry for convenience, marry for XYZ. And they say that's why Black women have a tough time finding partners because they try to marry for love. And I'm a Black woman. So if you're out there disagreeing with me, it's because you probably haven't heard that rhetoric, but I've heard that rhetoric time and time again because I'm 33 and I'm not married because I'm waiting for love. And you know what? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've always felt that way. And when it comes to Benny Blanco, a lot of people were saying, oh, so Selena must think he looks good because I'm looking at him and that's not who I pictured her with. Those are very mean comments. And it's easy to read those comments. And if you're Selena Gomez, you put yourself in her shoes and you're like, oh, maybe he isn't that cute. Maybe he's not good enough for me. But this interview with Benny Blanco and Selena Gomez, he was saying, I don't read the comments. And the reason why is because if you're a celebrity, or really if you're anybody and you're going to your comments, you're looking for two things. You're either looking for people to tell you, to validate you and say, oh, you're the ish, you're doing this is great, this looks good, etc., da-da-da. Or you're looking for, you're a piece of crap, you don't look good, you don't do this, why did you do it like that? He said you're looking for either that validation or you're looking for someone to tear you all the way down. And he said, regardless, whatever it may be, I'm taking time out of my day that I could actually be using. I could exerting that energy somewhere else. I could be with my friends. I could be enjoying the weather. I could be taking my dog for a walk. Like, he's like, there's no purpose in me reading these comments. And so I'm just going to let them feel how they feel. I'm going to let them troll how they troll. It doesn't have any effect on my life. The only effect it's going to have is whatever I allow it to have. And so that's where this conversation kind of started. I sent that post to Benjamin, and I said, Ben, like, this is something I've really been thinking a lot about, because going back to how we started the show, I have an issue with not being in control of everything around me. I have been that way my entire life, and I've opened up to all of you. I think it's because I was born into a home in which my dad was not around, and I wasn't in control of that. You know, I was a fetus when my parents split. They were not together when I was born. And while as a child, I didn't understand that concept, I have understood it, I mean, really for as long as since I was probably 15, 16, like that's when I really started to understand your dad was not in your life because he chose that. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your mom's fault. Your dad chose not to be in your life. And that was something where once I did understand it, it became, but like, how can I control this? How can I fix that? And there's nothing I could do to fix it because that was in his control. And while that's like a really like broad example, it's a true example of being able to control what you can. I can't control who wants to come in and out of my life. I can't control who wants to spend their time with me or how they feel about me or what they say about me. But what I can control is how I react to it, how I feel about it. And granted, feelings are not always controllable. Let's be very honest. If you're happy, if you're sad, if you're whatever, it's probably just an innate thing. Like, it just happens. You can't exactly tell yourself, all right, time to be happy. Okay, now it's time to be miserable. It's not a switch like that, but you can control how you respond to those type of scenarios or those type of obstacles, if you will. And that's something I'm still continuing to learn in every area of my life. And so when I was relaying that to Benjamin, him being the professor, yes, I said it, not professor, the professor that you are, he enlightened me and he said, listen, I think that you need to take a look at the let them theory, because that's exactly what you are getting at, which is let them be who they are. Let them feel how they feel, because what they do, what they say, how they act, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And there's a lot of different things that we could break down in the let them theory. But today, we're going to talk about how this can be truly a life-changing tool for you and how it's changed us and it's bettered us as humans, and not just as humans, but as, you know, the media personalities that we are. So Benjamin, why is it that when I relate to you, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now, this is what I'm going through in my life, this is what I want to talk about, why is it that you immediately went to the let them theory?
I immediately went to the let them theory, Mel, because I'm a good friend. All right. I'm a good friend. And I know what the human experiences feels like, right? Like, I'm human, you know, and if I actually went on to, you know, fill out a job resume all over again, I would put on my experience human. Okay, that's why I told you about the let them theory, because a lot of times we get into our own heads about BS, right? We care a lot about what other people think. We care about a lot about what I said. Did this impact this person this way? Or I said this impacted people this way, you know. And I got to the point in my own life where, you know, me thinking about what others thought about me really, you know, took up a lot of my own mental space, right? Where I'm thinking about, like, dang, did I say this correctly? Did this person feel this way? But it came to a point in my life, Mel, when I was about 21 years old, where I just said, forget it all, man. Forget it all. Like, that person's idea of me doesn't matter. That person's idea of me does not matter. The idea of how I see myself and envision myself is what matters the most, because I'm going to be with myself for the rest of my life. So, you know what? I make the rules here. I make the rules. You know, you guys don't, I do. You know, so how I feel about me, I'm going to project that onto me. A lot of times people will, you know, make up these ideas or false narratives of who they believe you are. I remember when I was a child, my dad had told me, he was like, you know what, Ben, people are always going to try to tell you who you are. They're going to try to tell you who you are. They're going to try to put you in a box, but your main responsibility is to show them who you are. You know, and I took that with me after my dad's passing, you know, and I mean, honestly, even before that was already with me. But after he had passed away, it really stayed with me, because it's just like, you know, people are always going to have these ideas or perceptions of who you are. But ultimately, you only know who you are. Like, people will only see you in certain different lights, right? Like, somebody out there, Mel, can only see you working with the Bucks. They only see you as a Bucks employee, right? Your mom sees you as her daughter, right? But how do you see yourself? You know, that's most important. You know, are you all these different labels, or are you Melanie Ricks when you look in the mirror? You know, and that's when, if anybody taps into my morning show, General Juice, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., you guys would know that one thing that Benjamin does, and I truly do this, Mel, I get out of the shower. And I meditate. And in doing so, I do a mirror gazing. And I do it ass naked. I do it completely naked. I look at myself completely naked.
Hey, hold on, pause. Yes. Because I know we're trying to get philosophical, but mirror gazing?
Yeah, mirror gazing. Mirror gazing is a form of meditation that works well for me. It works well for me because, you know, a lot of times people will, I ain't even going to say just people, but I
was going to say, this is a you thing.
It is a you thing, but society will try to tell you what's perfect. Society will try to tell you you're supposed to look like this, or this is that, or that is this. And not necessarily to try to negate those things, but to make certain that my cup is filled. I look at myself fully in the mirror. And if you ever practice mirror gazing, one thing that you will know is if you stare in the mirror long enough at yourself, you will start to experience these different types of hallucinations. Well, along that path of hallucinating, I'm actually telling myself that I love myself, and I'm touching myself as I'm doing so. What I mean is I'm touching different parts of my body, like I'm touching my biceps, like, hey, and I'm telling myself, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm touching my feet. I love you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's so important for us to do as individuals, because if we get caught too much into groupthink, then we will never think that we are the lead characters in our own relationship with ourselves. You know, somebody out there had conjured up an idea or a narrative that is crazy to talk to yourself. And I'm here to dispel that. Because
talk to myself all day, every day.
As you should. Most geniuses talk to themselves. Right? Most geniuses talk to themselves, and they should, because the world is crazy. A lot of people out here are followers, all right? And they only follow what they believe is cool, but you have to realize that the idea of what was cool was made up by a person who was no smarter than you, no cooler than you, no more bigger brain power than you at all. They just had the confidence to go out there and set foot and set a path and trailblaze a path that idea became popular, you know. And that was one of the things that for myself I took on to be like, you know what, Ben, whatever idea in your head that you want to get out, make that popular, make that the cool thing to be, make yourself the cool thing to be, you know. So I say this all to say, you know, the let them theory, let them. If they believe that you are this, then let them, because I'm not here to control your narrative of me. You know, I'm here to control the narrative of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to control me. If you have this perception that Benjamin is a producer, then fine, I'm a producer. If you have this perception of Benjamin that I'm an on-air host, then fine, I'm a host. If you have this perception that Benjamin is the greatest rapper of all time, then fine, I will embrace that. But at the same time, I'm all those things and then more. You know, I'm somebody's son. I'm somebody's uncle. I'm somebody's nephew. You know, all those other things. But I will say this, more than anything, I am me. You know, and I'm not a label. So with that being said, if those people out there in the world wanna think that I'm this or I'm that, then let them, man, because I've lost so much energy trying to persuade people in their ideas and perception of me that I went down roads of losing myself, trying to tell people that, oh, this is me. Well, damn it, I had to come to a realization that if you can't accept that, then so be it. I shouldn't be wasting that energy on that. I should be wasting my energy or spending my energy on some brand new idea that's gonna bring me in $1 billion. You know, that's what I should be channeling my energy on. So when I realized that, Mel, and Truth Nation and everybody out there, when I realized that, that's when I became more powerful. You know, that's when I became more powerful. That's when I took my power back. So the let them theory allows you to take your power back, because too much, we put our power into others when we need to be putting that power into ourselves so we can put that power out to others who deserve it and not the wrong ones.
If I had a mic, I would drop it.
Snap.
What? On what? No, for real, though, I would drop that because you're spitting. And so the Let Them Theory, it's a book that was published in just a few months ago, December of 2024. And in the book, first off, like just the overall summary of it, if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated with where you are, the problem isn't you. The problem is the power that you give to other people. 2 simple words, let them, will set you free. Free from opinions, from drama and judgments of others, and then etc. So that's like the quick summarization of it. And Ben is spitting. He really is, because more often than not, and you know, you said from the start of this conversation, Ben, we're all human. I think it is human nature to allow others to dictate what you should be doing in life. I think it's something that has started from the dawn of time. I mean, in actuality, while a lot of us see ourselves as leaders, there are more followers than not. And I think even the leaders of the world, they like to follow because it can be uncomfortable to be the one to set the precedent, to be the one to set the rule, the law, because you don't want to be the one to mess up. You don't want to lead all of these people to the green pasture as you see it, and you get there and it's all dried and brown because you weren't able to water it the proper way, because the tools that you thought that you had that would work, they don't work properly. It's a big task to be a leader, but there are people who, in my opinion, they're born for that. But the issue is, even those who are born leaders, they often are told what they are doing is not correct. They should be doing it this way or maybe handling it that way. And the beautiful thing about the society, the world that we live in right now, you don't have to necessarily oblige to what other people are saying. But I think it is important to let people be who they are. I think there's such there's a peace of mind that comes with that. And there's so many things that we could break down as far as the let them theory.
There's power in that.
There's so much power in it. It's very empowering. And essentially in the let them theory, you're freeing yourself from unnecessary stress. It's your way of controlling what you can. Ben, I don't care who you are. You can't control the acts of other people. You can't dictate what other people are going to feel, what they're going to think, what they're going to say. And as somebody who wants to control the world around her, I've struggled with that. Because, you know, you and I, we talked about this, Ben. We're people. We are the types where we want to make people feel good. We want to help people. We want to walk into a room, and when we walk out of it, we want that room to be brighter than it was when we walked in. We want it to be funner, more fresh. Like, we try to bring energy that's going to revitalize a room. Not everyone has that same intention. Unfortunately, whether they realize it or not, there are people who walk into a room and they want to dampen the room. They want to be a cloud over that room because that's how they feel innately. And I'm not coming for anybody who has that, because I think that's a whole other thing that you got to work out. But I'm going to let you do that because that's on you. What I can do is control my actions. What I can do is control how I'm going to react to whatever it is that you are giving to me. And again, that let them theory, there's a lot of different subtext, if you will, that we can break down when it comes to it. But it's a lot of people, from what I've read, when they hear the term let them, they look at it almost like passively, Ben. Like they're looking at it like, well, you're a leader, and so you're going to walk into a room and somebody's going to, let's say defy or go against or not agree with something that you say. So as a leader, you just let them, but now you're being passive. And it's like, but it's not about being passive and indifferent. It's about making a conscious choice about where you're going to invest your energy.
100%. I try to tell people this all the time, man. Like, some things will upset you in life. Well, I mean, come on now, you're going to live life. Some things are definitely going to upset you, but it's up to you to figure out where you're trying to place your energy or where you want to place your energy. So you can go ahead and be upset at that person, right? They failed on the project that you guys were all working on. You could be upset at the person if you chose to, because this is your life. However, you could also, again, if you identify yourself as being a leader, you can use that same energy and frustration that you were going to channel into this person to help build that person up. All right, to tell them, you know what, man, I see this in you. I don't see that in you. And is this what you really want? Is this what you really want to be at? Because again, that's where that let them theory comes into play at. Because ultimately, this person has the choice, right? They have the choice to come along with the team and build with the team, or they have a choice to, stay stagnant and be the person they had always been, right? Which doesn't come with any kind of growth. And if that's the case, that's a decision that they choose to make, then let them. Because ultimately, it gives you back your peace of mind.
And it gives you back your sense of control, because you can control how you react to that let them theory.
Facts.
And Ben, I don't know about you, like literally even pulling into the parking garage. So, we're here at the 3rd Street Market Hall in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. I was pulling into the parking garage, and so there's two from where I come in. There's two options to press the button and get your ticket and go in. So the first machine I went to,
giving out these security clues.
I know, right? Well, we're secured up in here.
Security
you feel me?
details.
You feel me? No, we're secured though. No, but I was pressing the button just to get my ticket to go park, right? And the first machine wasn't working. So I had to reverse and I had to go to the other side, Ben. So, I go to the other side, that machine works great. But as I was reversing and going to the other ticket kiosk, a car was coming up behind me. They clearly had like their badge to get in. Maybe they lived here, they worked here, I don't know. I had to press for a ticket. They had a badge, so they didn't have to wait for the ticket. And so they scanned, they went in. Do you know I got annoyed? Because I was like, well, I was here first, so my gate should go up first, and I should be the first. But then I thought about it literally, and I was like, let them go. It's not their fault that, it didn't work out for you. You had to reverse, let them. It's fine.
You had to choose a different path, and that's okay.
And that's okay. And it sounds so minuscule. It sounds so silly. But if you really, really think about the little things that irk you, the little things that may switch up your attitude, your mood, it can be those little things, but it's like, let the universe work as it will, because there's a reason why things happen as they do.
Right.
And I feel that a lot of times when we have our irritations, when we have those things that we allow to just boil up and really rattle us, it's things where it's like, just let it happen as it is. You can't control the fact that your ticket machine didn't work. You can't control the fact that that person happened to come in and it worked for them and they were able to go. That's fine. Let it play out as it may. But I'm the type, I'll get irritated about that, Ben, and I'll turn that into, well, is the universe against me? Am I going to have a bad day? Is this like a sign for a bad? No. What I can control is how I feel about that situation, how I respond to that situation. And I'm very impatient. I will be extremely honest with y'all. I am such an impatient for as nice and kind and all that I can be. I'm very impatient. I want things to go exactly how I plan for them to go. If I'm having a conversation with somebody, I know my dialogue and I know what your dialogue should be, but it doesn't always work out that way. And that's okay. Let the cards roll out as they may.
Thanks.
But it's easier said than done, especially when you're somebody who has issues with, relinquishing control. And I do, Ben. I do. Because I like to play The Sims. And in The Sims, I'm God. And so if it's not rolling out the way that I thought it was going, honestly, I am the type where I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Universe, what are you trying to tell me? I honestly think the universe, more times than not, is teaching me the act of being patient, the act of understanding that you are not in control of everything around you, and that's okay. Right. And for me, that's what I'm getting the most out of the let them theory right now. But obviously, it can apply to every area of your life.
It's multifaceted. It's multifaceted. And like I said before, I think it's really an idea or a concept or philosophy, I should say, about how you maintain your peace, and really what you value. Because the moment you decide to allow anger to, roll over you and come over you, and then now you're projecting on this next person, in my opinion, you lost. All right. I'm the type of person, I don't see black and white. I'm the type of person that's like, okay, 1% I'm angry, 100%. It's gonna take me a lot to get there, but I count my energy levels on little percentages, right? Little notes, if you will. And I'm not the type of person to just get angry over anything because I value my peace. Yeah. Unless it actually takes me to get to that level, or it actually calls for me to get to that level, that's the only way. And truthfully, the only way you'll get me to that level is if I really feel disrespected. However, I have to feel disrespected. I have to feel as if this was a line that was crossed, and now I have to take it there with you. Even subsequently, even when it came down to the gentleman, Benny, what was the guy's name?
Benny Blanco.
Benny Blanco. That's
he's a producer. Yeah.
Well, some people say he's ugly as hell. Some people say he's ugly as hell, right? You're not fit for Selena Gomez. How dare you pull up on our queen?
Which,
right?
By the way, and I'm not saying anything against Selena, but I'm like, then who do you think he's good for? Like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to put, I feel like you're almost putting them in tiers. See? This tier of beauty, this tier of, it's like, what?
It goes down to how I said before early in this conversation that some people will compartmentalize you and put you in these certain boxes, and they can only see you in this light. Not understanding that, you're a human being as well. And I'm glad that Selena still stands by this guy's side, because I'm not gay, all right, but the gentleman's not even that ugly, all right.
No one is, Ben. Beauty is in the eye. No, don't go there, because you know how I feel. You know how I feel.
Mel, you can feel how you feel, all right. That I'm gonna let you feel that way. I'm gonna let you feel
and I'm gonna let you feel how you feel.
There are some ugly people out here in this world.
All right.
But the Benny gentleman, he's actually not that ugly. I don't even think he's ugly at all. I think he's just an average guy, whatever. Lucked up with Selena Gomez is what it is. All right. But the fact is they found love and they found one another. And that's really the more important issue to it all, because I see people try to come at Giannis and Mariah. Oh, Giannis is Giannis. Oh, Mariah should be some supermodel type of woman. But at the same time, bro, she's for him. Giannis has been like, bro, I don't need all these other superficial women out here. Like, she fills my cup. She makes certain that I'm good at the end of the day. When I ring this bell, I know what's going down, and she's with that. And ultimately, I mean, this is off air, Mel, but we're having a conversation that at the end of the day, bro, you're crafting your life for you. Okay, so if you're happy with how you've crafted your life for yourself, that should be the only thing that matters. Not what the internet got to say.
Nobody's living your life but you.
Nobody's living your life but you. You are your own universe. You are the leader of your universe. You are the leader of your own world. You are the leader of how you perceive yourself. So you can't be out here trying to pour into other people's cups and trying to make sure this person is okay and that person is okay, because you will leave yourself dry. Okay, and that's just a fact, all right? So make certain that whatever you're doing at the end of the day, that it is good for you. This is something that you say is good for you, not the rest of the world. And that goes for even young kids right now who, some parents try to pressure you into going to college, or hell, because we live in the internet age, some parents are trying to pressure their kids to be rappers and be these social media YouTuber people and stuff like that. But if it's not for you, it's okay. Tell your parents it's not for me. I'm not trying to live through you. I'm trying to live for me. Because I've seen time and time again where children have tried to live up to their parents' standards, and it just never ended up up being for them. Like, I'll tell you this, man. I've actually never even said this over the airwaves, but the fact is, like, the parents that I had weren't even necessarily for me doing music. They weren't necessarily ready for me to do radio or anything like that. They're like, oh, man, I don't think it's going to work. Why don't you go get a factory job? Why don't you do this so you could be secure in life? But that kind of security scared me because I knew for a fact that wasn't my dream. I knew for a fact that wasn't my calling. I knew for a fact that if I did those types of jobs, then I had gifts inside of me that the rest of the world wouldn't be able to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I was like, nah, Ben, you gonna live for you and you gonna figure this out. I don't care if you can't see it, you gonna make it happen one way or another. And God damn it, it happened. All right, so I'm here based off of my own beliefs, my own confidence in myself, but it's because I live this life by my own rules, not by the rest of the world's rules. Hell, you see Donald Trump became a president. If he lived by the rules of the world, he wouldn't even be president. All right, he would not be president, and that's a fact. But at the same time, he decided to curate a life for himself that he loved. So what are you going to do for yourself to curate a life that you love? Because at the end of the day, you were born alone, you're going to die alone, but what are you going to do for yourself to make certain that you're happy through this joint? Because ain't nobody else gonna be responsible for your happiness but besides you.
You heard him?
Hey.
No, he's spitting. It's facts. And I think, Ben, we care way too much
about people.
About people.
I love people.
And I love people. And that's where you and I, like just the way that we were set up, like just the way that we operate, the way that our being is made up of. We care about people. And I think when you care about people, unfortunately, it goes hand in hand with you care about what people think. And you don't just care about what people think about you. You care about what people think about everything. Example, if I walk into, a certain venue and people are bored, like I care about that. I want to enhance their experience. I want them to feel good. And while that can be a beautiful thing because we are people. That's why I say that. Like you say, oh, I'm a dog person, I'm a cat person. Ben, you and I are people persons. Like truly, we really are. But in that, you have to be reminded of exactly what Benjamin said, which is that you are the only one living your life. And as wonderful as it is that you want to put everybody else's oxygen masks on, you got to make sure that yours is on as well. And not just that, you got to make sure yours is functioning. Because if you don't have oxygen, if you don't have the air that you need, how do you breathe life into others?
That's real.
And I think that it can be one of those things where you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't care about people, but then also care about what they think about you because they're not living your life.
Right. Where's your self-love at? Where's the love for yourself? I remember there was a point in my life where, I had a girlfriend at the time and a best friend at the time. He's actually still my best friend. The girl's gone or whatever. But I just remember that, I was pouring so much into their cups because they were broke. They ain't had no money. But I'm like, oh, let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. That I one day looked in the mirror. I was like, damn, Ben, what do you have for yourself?
Right.
And it was, I'm putting the oxygen mask on them for years at this time, not putting it on myself and realizing I'm like, dog, you need help too.
Yeah.
And you here to help yourself. Nobody else is. It's just you. So how you going to do that? And you can't do that when you're so focused on everybody else. I came up with this idea later on in my life, early in my late 20s or whatever if you will. But it's just one of these things that we're like, man, like you said though, Mel, you have to put the oxygen mask on for you, and then all of everything that's happening for you will pour over into others. That's why in the Bible, it goes on to say that my cup runneth over, right? This analogy, applies to everybody that sits at the table with you, right? The friends that you claim, the family members that you claim. Because if you have a cup that runneth over, everybody that sits at the table with you eventually will feel a piece of that wine. You know what I'm saying? But it's up to you to first fill your cup. Because if you don't fill your cup, it can't runneth over.
I mean, if you don't have the substance, like if you don't have what goes in the cup, if there's nothing left in it, you're just sitting there with an empty cup. What do you pour into other? You're not pouring anything into the others.
At all, full of air.
I could not agree with you more. But I was going to say, as far as relationships, what I believe it applies in the same way in this, because you brought up, your ex.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Relationships tend to suffer when we put certain expectations on others. So there's this guy whom we were in a situationship, and now we're really good friends, but we're good friends. And, we knew what it was, and I never looked at him as somebody that I could be in a relationship with, but we kind of entertained it just a little bit, because you know how situationships are. They kind of placate, like they almost like read as a relationship, but it's not a relationship. And what I told this individual, I said to him, I realized I was starting to have expectations of you that I would of a spouse, that I would of a boyfriend, of a husband. And that's not fair of me. And I think that we put certain expectations on a lot of different individuals in our lives when it comes to relationships.
Right.
And something that I learned from the let them theory is, when you're trying to control others and when you put those expectations of others, basically what you're saying is, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to be able to make the right decision. I don't trust that you are going to know what to say, or you're going to know what to do. But instead, when you let someone be who they are, flaws and all, no matter what comes with that, you're now creating a space for true acceptance, for truthfulness to come out, for there to be intimacy. It's like you're trying to shift from changing people to instead understanding that person, allowing them to flourish, allowing them to be exactly who they are, not just be who they are, but you appreciating who they are. And in turn, they can then pour into your cup, because I feel let's say we have a full cup, and you're sitting here with this person, what makes you think that cup is so empty that you need to take your cup and pour your cup? Because let's say you do that, there's nothing left remaining in your cup. And what if they don't like what you poured into their cup? They gonna pour that back out. They don't necessarily pour it back into you because they don't like what you gave them. So they're gonna pour it out. And now both of you are sitting there with two empty cups. Who's gonna pour into each other? Instead, you're gonna butt heads because you're trying to figure out where you can go and get your water from, or get your oxygen, your wine, whatever it is that you're drinking, like where you can go and get it from. And now we're just two people who are existing on this same plane, but we are not understanding each other. We're not seeing eye to eye. We don't have anything to pour into each other. And that's when relationships start to suffer. So instead of trying to, put these expectations on people and having these things of, no, you need to check X, Y, Z off, I think it's wonderful. For the record, anyone who's single out there, I actually do believe in manifestation and having a list, but I don't think that you should stick to it in the sense of, if you don't meet this requirement, it's an absolute no. I don't think anyone is ever going to check every box off completely, or at least not to the extent that you thought they would. But the beauty in life is when you open up yourself to other possibilities, they check those things off, but in a way that maybe you didn't foresee. Maybe check them off in a way where your mind could have never even projected that image because you weren't there. But guess what? They're able to bring something to your life that you didn't have before. Therefore, you weren't able to imagine it. You weren't able to foresee that, but they're now bringing something to the table that you didn't have. And now your table is full again. Your cup is full again because they're replenishing that with something that you didn't even know that you needed. You didn't even know that you wanted. And I think when it comes to the let them theory, more often than not, especially in relationships, we don't let them, because we don't choose people for who they are. We choose them for who we want them to be. But I think that it's important to choose a partner for who they are, knowing that you're going to grow together, if that makes sense.
No, Mel, I think that makes complete sense. Like you said, a lot of times we throw our expectations up on people, whether it's in a relationships or a friendship or even a job we may be working at, right?
Yeah.
We throw certain expectations on it. But again, we have to realize that, not everybody thinks like you do. Not everybody thinks like you do. And even to your point, Mel, it's one of these things where that's the beauty in it, right? Like, that's the beauty in working with a team because, other people don't think like you do. So ultimately, they may think of some crazy idea that ultimately, makes your brain orgasm. What I'm saying?
What would the world be like if every single person thought exactly like Benjamin?
Gray. It'd be gray. because I couldn't be amazing because everybody's amazing then, right? You
Good point. Good point.
It would be great though, and that's the beauty in God's creation, right? We're all beautiful imperfections, and it's for a reason. You know, I can't be the smartest man in the room. However, if I get with a group of people who not necessarily think like me, but we think alike, however, they had a whole different, complete set of life circumstances and experiences, and they end up telling me, "Hey Ben, you know, if you wore blue today instead of red, that would have been fire." Those are the types of ideas that honestly get me gushing. All right, I call myself a sapiosexual. All right, because ideas really do turn me on. Okay, they really do. I love thinking differently. I love being able to somebody to pour in my cup and allow me to see the world in a different way that I never saw it before. Because ultimately, that's where I feel like my growth lies. You know, I see the world one way, but when somebody else comes and hits me over the head and it's like, Ben, you know, if you thought about it this way, if you said it this way, or you went about life this way, it'd be that much better for you. Bingo, you got me. You know, because that's beauty to me, you know, in the idea or in the sense of ideas, in the sense of color, in the sense of just building relationships. That is somebody pouring into me as I pour into them, you know, and it's just one of these things that, like, if you only allow people to get into your circle that you feel like are only just like-minded, or they have to say what you say, or all these other things, that it just shows me how weak you truly are.
And where's the growth?
Where's the growth? Where's your growth at?
Right.
You know, like the most, I guess, the best of us, you know, they always have people around them that know more than they do. You know, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
No.
I really don't. I want to be around people that I can grow from.
I don't want to be the richest in the room.
I really don't. Hey, even if I got $1 billion, where the trillionaire at?
Okay.
You know, where the trillionaire at?
Okay.
I need to figure out how to think more like you.
Yep.
I need to figure out what idea woke you up at night that excited you, that made you inspired to get up and create something like a Tesla, or create a new robot, or create
an Amazon, whatever it may be, a Netflix. You know,
because honestly, truth be told, Truth Nation, those are the people that I study. Like, if y'all really want to know, Benjamin, when I go home and I'm chilling in my lovely abode, things that I study are people who have went on to achieve larger than life things that people once before would have said that would be impossible. Like, I look at a Steve Jobs and the things that he did in his life would have been impossible for somebody to even think of at the time. However,
they made fun of those ideas.
They made fun of those ideas, and it's just one of them things where it's just like, damn, I want to know more about this person, because what made you have the confidence, had made you have the wherewithal to even think of the idea and then know that it would work. You know, those are the type of people that inspire me to become a better version of Benjamin, because the Benjamin that you see right now, sure, I'll be 33 in a month, you know, but the 50-year-old Benjamin has yet to be discovered. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working today for that person in the future.
Yep.
You know, so anybody got any ideas for Benjamin, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Let me know something, because I will definitely be I might entertain the idea, but if it truly is a good idea, it will stick with me, and one day, somehow, it will pour out.
And Ben, you said, I love the examples that you gave. So something else that came to my mind in reading the let them theory was, okay, so I'm letting them, but then what does that do for me? Because at some point,
free up a load.
It does free up a load, but like at some point, it's like, okay, I can't keep letting people run amok with, you know, their opinions and their thoughts, etc. It's not about suppressing your emotions when it comes to how you feel about letting them, right? It's not about suppressing those emotions, but instead, it's about acknowledging your feelings, allowing yourself to experience them, but then choosing how you respond to that. So, for example, you talked about Steve Jobs. You know, we talked about Amazon, which is Jeff Bezos. We talked about Netflix. Those founders, if you will, of those three entities, they could have easily folded. They could have easily sold out. They could have easily listened to the naysayers. Netflix, I remember when Netflix was launched. I think I was in high school. Netflix was still doing DVDs, like mail-in, when I was in college. Dog, don't.
You're old.
See, don't do me, because I'm 33 and he's 32. He's going to be 33 while I'm still 33. Let's be clear. But if those people would have, you know, listened to the naysayers,
right,
we wouldn't have Netflix. We wouldn't have Microsoft. You know what I mean?
Right.
We wouldn't have Amazon the way that we do now. But instead, they allowed those people to feel how they felt. And they didn't suppress their emotions. Instead, they acknowledged what those people were saying to them, and they allowed that to enhance their own experience and respond the way they did, which was, I'm not about to let what these people are saying, what these people feel, what the critics are saying, I'm not going to allow them to dictate what I'm doing. They knew, they felt it in their soul. The spirit overcame them. Their gut told them whatever. God himself may have come in a dream. I don't know what it was, but regardless, in spite of what other people were saying, in spite of how they felt about what other people were saying, they still chose to respond the way they did, which was to move forward with their ideas because they knew this is going to be world changing. This is going to be game changing. And for a lot of them, they probably thought, oh, yeah, this will be something that'll work well in the States or in California or, you know, whatever region it may be. And it turns out it ended up being a larger than life idea. And so you never know, something so minute, something so small that you think is only going to benefit you or the circle around you, that can end up being something that's going to change the world, change the game.
Facts.
And if you don't allow people and their opinions and their thoughts and what they say, if you don't allow that to infiltrate your mind and infiltrate what you're doing, it's only going to propel you. It's only going to empower you more, because think about how empowering it's going to be when you're able to look back and say, wow, all of those critics, all of those naysayers, those social media comments, whatever it may be, said that I couldn't, and look at me. Trudging on, I'm going forward, I'm doing what I need to do no matter what, and now I've overcome all of those things because I let them. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, people are going to feel how they feel, Ben.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I could put up a social media post explaining my feelings. Somebody going to have a problem with that. I could be Mother Teresa 2.0. I could literally give $1 billion to the poorest communities, and there's going to be somebody saying, well, why didn't you give $2 billion? You know what I mean?
It's true.
Why didn't you reach this community? Let them say what they want. Let them feel. Let them do, because they're going to let you, no matter what. They can critique you, but they're still going to let you do you, because nothing can stop you except for you.
Facts. And I mean, Mel, like, you couldn't be more right. Like, especially when I'm talking like, you know, black people across America or whatever. The let them theory is damn near akin to the black American plight here in America. Like, when you ever even thinking about every obstacle we faced, you know, it's basically because we let them be racist. You know, we let them do all these things, let them try to deter us. Like, the fact is like, you know, George Washington Carver, you know, him pioneering being an agricultural scientist, you know, and developing numerous different patents to use.
Is that the peanut man?
Yeah, he's the peanut man. You know, or even or Alexander Miles, who invented the elevator. People use elevators day in and day out, but I'm certain somebody told him that was a dumb idea.
Yes, they did.
You know, or Frederick Jones, who invented the refrigerator.
Come on.
You know how many racist people out there have a refrigerator in their home? You know, if he would have let them stop him, you know, nobody would have a refrigerator right now. Nobody would have an air conditioner. None of that right now. It's in every household. I don't care if it's the poorest household to the richest household. Everybody has those types of things. I even thinking about, you know, when we even talk about these types of ideas, I think about people like Ken and Ivory Wayans. You know, I think about the Wayans. You know, because ultimately, had he, you know, not went on to put his family on his back and then invent living color, you know what I'm saying? We would have never had a Kendrick Lamar at a Super Bowl.
We may not have had white chicks.
We would never have white chicks. We would never had Kendrick Lamar at a Super Bowl. We would never even had these Super Bowl halftime performances. Scary movie. And those types of things. All
Wayans brothers, so many things.
It's impacted our culture to the 10th degree.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you have these ideas in your mind that you should, you know, go out and pour out. You need to put them out there, man. Regardless of what anybody around you is saying, just go ahead and put it out there. I was just listening to Andre 3000. Andre 3K, a part of Outkast, who's about to be, you know, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. He went on to go say that one of his biggest songs of all time, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, One of his good friends, one of his homies from the block, had told him that if he had dropped that record, it'd be career ending for him. It would have been trash and all these other things. And he laughed it off because he was like, my homie's got some ideas and I got mine too. But Hey Ya is one of the biggest records that Outkast,
they put Kodak on the map.
No. You know what I'm saying? Ever dropped. But if he would allow them to think those things, or if he allowed them, though, their ideas to, stop him from where he was going to his own trajectory, Andre 3000 wouldn't even be who he is today. All right? And we would have never been able to feel them vibes.
Facts.
So, man.
And weddings would be very different.
Weddings would be very different. So when it comes down to the idea of people who want to hate you, let them if they hate you. If there's people that dislike you, let them. If they can't see your vision, let them. Because this life is your life and your life for you. All right? So allow them to be them and allow yourself to be yourself. Because too many times we block ourselves from our own blessings and our own gifts that are already within inside of us. We just need to allow ourselves to let ourselves bring the light out. You know what I'm saying? So allow yourself. When we talk about the let them theory, let yourself. Let yourself be you. Forget them other people. Don't allow those roadblocks. Don't allow them people those naysayers to dictate who you are or any of those things, because it don't effing matter. I have a mantra or a saying that I say each and every day. It's just one day in a lifetime. I know that my lifetime is bigger than this one moment. This one moment could be a linchpin in my entire lifetime, but it's one moment. It's not going to define the rest of who I am for the rest of my life. So when you have a bad day, it's not going to define you for the rest of your life. It will if you allow it to. It will if you allow it to. But when you realize how much power you have over your own life, that's when you'll be free.
That's
it's not about the money that you have. It's not about the opportunities that you get. It's none of that. It's when you allow yourself to be free from the shackles of others.
Come on. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. Okay, you heard me. No, but straight up, and I mean, Ben, I'm serious. You preaching like I'm gonna have to ordain you to a minister status because
pass the hooks.
You feel me? Listen, and it's real. Ben is so correct. I could not agree more with every single thing that you are saying. You are spitting, and I appreciate you because it's so factual, and we forget just how much power we wield. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are in control. Free will is a very real thing. And really, when you think about the most powerful figures in the world, like whoever you think is the most powerful, right? Whether it's a president, a leader, a dictator, a celebrity, whoever you think is powerful, when you think about the top 5 most powerful people in the world, guess what they all have in common? They're human, just like you. Every single person that wields power is a human just like you. They were all born from a womb. Some of them, may have been born in a petri dish, but still everybody had to be grown in a womb of some sort. And we all come from the same place. And guess what? We're all going to the same place, God willing. And so the point is, you have so much power within, and anyone who makes you feel otherwise, they are not for you. You need to let them go. You need to let them be who they are, but they are not your people. You are so powerful. Words become things. Thoughts become things. The power of the tongue, it is a real thing. And the let them theory is about understanding that. When you are trying to constantly control others, it is your way of saying, I don't trust what you're doing. I don't believe in what you're doing. And guess what? When they try to control you, it's the exact same thing. But you should trust in yourself, because if there's anyone that you can rely on in this world, it is you. Don't allow others to dictate whom you trust, who you're going to give your power to. I think that the person that you should give all the power to is yourself. And in giving yourself that power, we do have more control of our feelings, but we also, in theory, have more control over the world around us, because you're controlling your reactions to the world around you. And more often than not, when we do react, it's one of those quick, instantaneous, like you're not even thinking about it, you're just reacting. And that's when you create a domino effect. And that's when you can change the trajectory of your life, not always for the better, simply because of an instant in that moment reaction, when you instead, you can stop, You can pause, you can think about it, and you can really settle in and think, okay, is this worth this, or should I go in that direction as well? And I know it's easier said than done. I'm telling you right now, I am impatient. I am somebody who wants something right now in the moment. If I think to myself, oh, I want a new rug for my apartment, I want that rug right now. But sometimes you just got to stop. You got to think about it, allow the bank account to have that extra, $80.99 that you need in there. I'm talking $80.99 that you need in there to go buy that new rug. Don't try to force it. Allow yourself to build to that point. Go to work, do a shift, and say, you know what? I did a good job today. I worked my butt off today. I'm going to go ahead and splurge on that rug now instead of just pulling the trigger right then and there, because guess what? Right then and there, it may seem like a good idea to buy that rug, but then the next day, what if an emergency comes up and now this emergency costs you $80.99 that you just spent on that rug that you just instantaneously wanted to buy, instead of really thinking about it and making sure, okay, is this the right decision for me? It's a really trivial example, but it's a similar thing when you allow the opinions of others to dictate how you feel. If somebody is making you feel a certain way, take a step back. Think about how you can react to it, because in that moment, if you react how you feel, 9 times out of 10, when you look at it in hindsight, you're going to regret that reaction because it was a quick emotion-based reaction, if you will. Let those people be who they are. Understand that it's all about the internal controllables. Externally, we're only in control of so much, and that's okay. You're not the only person. You're one of 8 billion people on this planet. You're not going to be able to control everything around you. It's impossible, but what you can control is you. You are the controllable in your life. That is the common denominator in all scenarios. If there's one thing that every situation in your life has in common with the others, it's you. You are the controllable. You are the common denominator. And it's something where once you understand that, it can help you lower your stress. It takes you out of that fight or flight mode. I feel like all of us are kind of in that. And it helps you prioritize your mental, your emotional, and your physical well-being. And it's only going to make not only you a better person, it's going to make everyone around you better, because you're putting on your oxygen mask and then you're helping the others around you. The Let Them Theory, it was written by Mel Robbins. This is not a plug. This is us genuinely being passionate about it. But the Let Them Theory, it's existed, since the dawn of time. We're not, well, actually we are reinventing the wheel, but it's a concept. It's like The Secret, the idea of manifestation, speaking things into existence. That's one pocket of life. This pocket of life is letting people be who they are, because you want people to let you be who you are, right? You don't want somebody to come in and dictate everything you do and control everything you do. Now, if you are that way, good for you. Hit me up. Love controlling others. Let me know. But I'm just kidding. No, but real talk though, you wouldn't want somebody to tell you, oh, you need to do this. Now you need to go here. Now you need to say that. So don't have that expectations of others around you. Let them be who they are. And in letting them be them, you're going to be able to be the absolute best version of you. Let us know what y'all think about this conversation. Really appreciate you, Benjamin. Before we go, though, I have to remind our folks about our friends over at Visit Milwaukee. Let me know, by the way, if y'all went to NFL Draft Week. It was a vibe. It was a time. We had so much fun. Really appreciate our folks over at Visit Milwaukee. But now we got some new things happening, a.k.a. summer. It's right on the horizon. By the way, it was 70 degrees in Milwaukee today. Loved it. It was a beautiful day. And summer in Milwaukee, as we all know, is nonstop. Festivals, live music, and fresh city vibes fill the season. From world-famous cultural celebrations to hidden gem street fairs, every neighborhood is a stage alive with handcrafted traditions, homegrown talent, and world-class entertainment. Music, flavor, culture. Whenever you visit the city, the Cream City is ready to celebrate. And this summer, don't just visit. Experience Milwaukee all the way through, the city of festivals. And what you can do in experiencing Milwaukee is visit Milwaukee. Go to visitmilwaukee.org so you can find out everything that's going on in our hidden gem of a city all summer long. Visit Milwaukee, homegrown, world class. Benjamin, really appreciate all that you do. Producer extraordinaire. It's amazing, as always, as are y'all. My name is Mel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. We'll be back next week with more gems, but let us know how you're applying the Let Them Theory to your life, and let us know what you thought about this conversation. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, y'all.